always just like making stuff up and throwing stuff against the wall, and some sticks, some doesn't. You know. So I appreciate you, David. I appreciate you. When we had an opportunity to meet at the camp meeting, and it was probably it was definitely one of the first ones again since all this real estate stuff started to turn around. And seeing the let's see, a little too slow. Let's see, there we go.
Close
my connection
Windows.
a little bit slow. Yeah, I just got to shut off a couple things here. Let's see. There we go. Get a little bit more bandwidth. That should do it. Okay. Okay, good. So, we had an opportunity to meet at the camp meeting.
Yeah.
And you had a booth there, which is really great. And share, with people, because this is going to go to loan officers and different people in my data list. And so maybe you can share a little bit about what you do and what you're there for at the meeting in, was it Newport or, yeah, it was Newport, I think, right? Yeah.
It was in Newport. I was there. I was there to learn most importantly. But I represent Title 365. We're a title company based out of Newport Beach. We're licensed in 40-something states right now. I started working for them back in September of 2012, and I chose Title 365 simply because they're at the cutting edge of technology. I'll be the first to admit, a prelim's a prelim. I don't think anybody tries to argue that, but what we've done is we've given access to people that previously they didn't have access to. The ability to pull comps, property profiles, deeds of trust, basically anything that they would need that they would used to have to call somebody for, we give it to them right away. And I wanted to be involved with a company that was cutting edge as opposed to reactive. I wanted to be with a first adopter as opposed to somebody that had to react and catch up. And the environment that they've created over there is incredible. Everybody from the top producers in the company all the way to the president and the CEO. They have an open door policy. You can talk to anybody, and the culture that they've created is really something else. And I'm proud to be working for them. And I can honestly say there's not been a few times in my life when I didn't feel that way, but I love my job. And what I do is I try to help real estate agents, escrow companies, loan officers, mortgage brokers, banks. I just try to help them make more money, either making their operations more efficient, creating levels of efficiency and different efficiencies within their workflow that didn't previously exist, or just simply giving them some out-of-the-box ideas to help them build what they're doing. And providing we work with a lot of people and connecting people, loan officers with people like yourself, real estate agents with I have a contractor that works on my house that does excellent work at really fair pricing, and just being able to say, hey, person out. It's just I really believe that a rising tide lifts all ships, and whatever we can do to help everybody succeed, it's a big pie out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So your target are realtors and loan officers and it sounds like investors as well.
Investors, I've worked with some lawyers. I've worked with some escrow companies, helping them, bring something new to their marketplace and differentiate themselves. Because down here in Southern California, at least in LA, Orange County, title and escrow are separate. So they have, standalone escrow companies, and we can pretty much help all those guys. Just if you can handle 20 more files a month without having to add additional staff, or your additional staff members can handle more business, communicate with each other quickly, create a real-time experience for everyone involved in the transaction, that's going to be beneficial to almost everybody.
Yeah, great. Yeah, totally will. I see that, and it sounds like you've got as you said, the technology in place with people that are already in the mix, the influencers. So it's really, really great. So check out. Is there a website people?
Yeah, just title365.com.
Okay, and what's somebody if a loan officer wants to try you out, or realtor sees this, is there a good number for them to call you?
Yeah, if somebody needs to see this, or we need to get them back, everybody needs to have a login and password to the account, so I can get them set up with that. My phone number is 714-917-9874, or you can shoot me an email, to david.glanzrock, GLANZROCK, at title365.com. And we'll
Killer. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's great. You know, we actually share a lot of stuff together. We do a lot of transformational work to increase our performance and effectiveness in the world, and we're oftentimes great at that, and sometimes things don't go so great. And at that, we were just talking about relationships prior to the phone call, and one of the very things that's very much important to me is really our relationships and taking care of people in such a way that they get left really nurtured and have the experience that really makes a difference for them for the very thing they're interested in. I may not necessarily care what they're interested in. Some people want to buy a jet plane. Some people want to buy a brand new Bentley. Some people want to buy a new home or refinance, whatever it is. And maybe you could share a little bit about what you had dealt with, and the conversation that we had at camp that day, and what the initial concerns you had, and now what you see.
Well, I mean, like almost everybody, people had issues back in 2007, 2008, and credit is essential to almost anything. You need it to buy a car. I mean, of course, if you don't have cash, you need it for almost everything. I mean, the simple act of having a credit card can help you with almost everything that you're doing. This is my guy, real quick.
Okay.
You can edit this, right?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, give me 1 second, okay?
Yeah, we'll just keep it going, and then that's great.
Hey, Eddie.
Dave was expecting a phone call in the middle of this interview, and so I said, sure, no problem. We'll just kind of make it up as we go along. So Billy's going to share with you what his experience Fix My Report is, what he was dealing with, and what the results were. I think you'd find it interesting. So here we go.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Life continues on.
Indeed. Indeed it does.
So what I was saying about credit is, you have these needs, whether it's to buy a car, finance a car, lease a car. If you don't have the cash available, credit's something that's really important. And, I had some issues going on personally, and my mother was fighting recurrent breast cancer for over 3 years. And in the summer, fall of 2011, we were pretty much in the hospital in the ICU continuously. And I was like 33 days late with a payment for my car. I didn't have it set up on an auto payment. I had the money. It just simply wasn't. I was living in Phoenix, but my mom was getting treatment at MD Anderson in Houston, Texas. So I wasn't receiving my statements. I wasn't getting my mail. And to be honest with you, it was the farthest thing from my mind. The only thing that mattered to me was making sure that my mother was taken care of. And you have a 30-day late on a car payment, and to be honest with you, these guys they don't care. I mean, I was late. That's all they really saw was that I was late, and I don't pretend that I wasn't. However, that 1 day late payment has been causing issues for me for a few years, and I've tried some other I've written letters. I've tried other credit repair companies for a courtesy removal of that one payment, and nobody seemed to be able to help it. And so I was talking with Corey at the camp thing just to see, what he might be able to offer, not only for me, but for my clients as well. And, there are some credit repair companies out there. But, working with Corey, he got my issue taken care of in less than a week. And, you look at the different options that you have out there, and, in some cases you might not need to take the Ferrari out of the garage to drive down the store to get a bottle of milk. Okay. But in other cases, you need the Ferrari. You need somebody that knows exactly what they're doing, that isn't having you call or you connect or send an email or whatever it might be. And those resources are great. Don't get me wrong. But if you're not able to get the resolution that you want, or you have a serious issue, foreclosure, something like that, you might need to take that Ferrari out of the garage. And I think that's what Corey does. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, it is a fair assessment. I look at the credit work that I do as really this is a last stop. When you've tried calling creditors. I mean, you tried communicating, you tried writing letters, you tried calling the credit bureaus, you've talked to every single, what seems like this, every single person in Mumbai or the Philippines, on a conference call with the credit agencies, and nobody gives a care for, what you're dealing with or what you're trying to accomplish. And certainly creditors are not our friends, never have been our friends. Their number one goal is really the extraction of capital, extraction of money out of our pocket to build their investor or stock value. And I'm receiving a call, which I'm going to shut down here.
That's fine. I was doing some research in in my master's program for school, and what was beyond interesting to me was the difference between creditors for maybe my parents' generation and creditors for my generation. The creditors used to extend you credit based on the assumption and the goal that you were going to pay them back. Now they issue you credit hoping that you don't pay them back. You get a 0% APR credit card fee, but you're one day late on that credit card payment and you're at 27%. It's criminal.
It really, I completely agree with you, David. I was reading some statistics, and this was about a year ago, and so my numbers are obviously not as tight as they could be. But late payment fees that have been that people pay is the number 2 or number 3 income generating source for financial institutions.
That's incredible.
Now, you imagine number 2 or number 3 most profitable income generating sources you can imagine. So, that $35 late payment, you do it a couple times a year, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually go past 30 days late.
No.
It doesn't mean that. It means if your payment's $250 or $300 a month, you're going to get hit with a $35 late charge. That's an additional 10% they're earning on top every single potential late that you make.
And it's money that you could be paying to go to the principal. I mean, one of the things that I have another friend that I should probably connect you with up in Iowa that is a lot more informed than I am. But, it's not a scalable situation because we don't educate people in this. You're not taught how to balance a checkbook. I mean, less than half of high school seniors that graduate know how to balance a checkbook. And although you're issued credit, we're not taught how to be responsible with that. The $500 television that you buy, by the time you pay for it, it's going to cost $1,700, $2,000 or more. And, the bank is giving me credit. So in my mind, I assume that I can afford that credit. That's not what that means at all. But we're not, as a population, we're not educated to know that. And it's, in my mind, it's just at least with credit cards, it's just not a scalable system. Eventually, people are going to they can't spend money on anything else because they're financing everything. And, you could talk about student loans and the rising cost of, higher education and all that. But eventually, we're going to run out of money to be spending on new items when they should be, because we're paying interest charges as opposed to actually putting money into the economy. And that's what I love about real estate is, we move money around in real estate. For every transaction, every home sale, something. I was reading an article where 18 different services and monies transacted for every home sale. Yep. And it's important to have a strong housing market. And by strong, I mean just transactions happening as opposed, we don't need 15-20% appreciation. That's not what I'm referring to. But transactions happening put money into the marketplace.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And what you pointed to is brilliant, because without the credit aspect of things, nothing moves, or very few things move. If you fail to have the kind of credit score that you really need to do something, you're out. It's that simple. You're out of the club.
Yeah.
And like my girlfriend just said to me a couple days ago, you're out of the club. So maybe I'll get back in the club. Maybe I won't get back in the club. We'll see. But but from a credit perspective, from a FICO perspective, from being able to qualify for a loan, if you don't have the credit you need, it's a problem. So what you're pointing to was an issue that you had when you were taking care of your mom, and it was a 30-day late. That was 3 days late from Volkswagen.
Yep.
Volkswagen said, "Ain't gonna remove it. You never were late. We don't care if you were ever late or not. We're gonna charge you the late fee and have a nice day."
Yep.
And it dropped your scores.
Yeah.
And
That's
so and the impact was, well, one, in the background, because everything else on your credit is impeccable. On the background of this whole thing, it's like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I've paid this payment 3 years perfectly on time, and one accommodation you can't offer me? No.
And I mean, I offered to provide them information from doctors. You know, I'm not making this up here. You know, but yeah, it is responsibility, and I think, you know, getting back to what I was saying, people do need to be responsible and take responsibility for themselves. But part of what I'm trying to do, and why I spoke with you, is to take responsibility, because, you know, I have other things I need to do. There's things that I want to accomplish in my life, and, you know, I need you need credit to be able to do that.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Well, you know, when we maybe in a couple of weeks or whatever, we'll run a new report for kicks and giggles. My sense, you're going to get a nice score boost. That'll be substantial. This thing will be completely complete. There's nothing more that you need to do about it. And what's so great about it is, you know, it's done for you. All it was okay. You know, sign some papers, shoot over a credit card for some payment. We break up the payments in installments, and it's done. And there's really not much more. And so that got done in less than 7 business days.
It was less than 7 business days. It was incredible. And I mean, I've been kind of working with this for a year and a half. I've exhausted every avenue, you know, every option that I had, really.
Yeah. Well, Volkswagen just did its thing. It was just being a creditor, and you know, oftentimes it's the biggest problem. I just got an email this morning from a loan officer in Southern California that's trying to get her client financed. The client wants to try to resolve his problems himself, and that's totally fine. Absolutely, totally fine. The impact, though, is if the client actually says something counterproductive to the results that we're looking to create, not going to happen. In all likelihood, the scores are going to go the other direction.
Well, you know, we work with people, and I know you do every day, where it's a matter of, you know, you might look at the cost to do business, and you might say, oh, well, that's expensive. That's more expensive than everybody else. Is it really more expensive when, you know, you're looking at $1,000 fee to fix your credit, but spending that $1,000 could potentially give you a 10% return on $1 million plus investment? I mean, in the grand scope of what you're trying to accomplish, it's
a no-brainer.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. But you know, when people are unwilling to look at the math, most people get a return in about 4 months. And if they keep their loan for 5 years, it's huge. Most people, on average, save between $35,000 to about $75,000 in interest payments within 5 years.
Yeah,
that's substantial. That's substantial. You know. So anyway, I'm just thrilled that you took the time out of your morning to spend some time with me. And I appreciate that very much. It's always great when people, you know, get results. They see what the results are, and you know, and I just want to acknowledge you for taking the time out of your day and spending time with me, and you know, giving the opportunity to share, you know, with other people about you know, what you got and what's really possible. Because why put in years of time trying to solve the same god darn problem when you can just actually get somebody to do it the right way and not have to screw around with it? Yeah, it costs a little something, but big deal. Your time is worth so much more. I mean, how much time did you invest mentally and emotionally dealing with this stupid Volkswagen issue that if it was actual dollars, how much would it be?
It'd probably be a lot. You know, I mean, every time I talk to them or talk to somebody, it was not only the emotional frustration of having to deal with this, but it was almost like opening the scab on a wound. You know, I had to remember my mother being ill and being in a hospital, and you know, and it was, I appreciate you acknowledging me, but it's absolutely my pleasure. You know, there's you know, what you do was incredible. It was a pleasure to work with you. And, you know, if you have an issue, I mean, I have no doubt that you'll be able to get it taken care of. And that is worth the peace of mind.
Hmm. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to make sure that my some realtors that I know all about you. The loan officers that subscribe to my newsletter know all about you, and I'm interested in working as they are with people that that are trustworthy, that fulfill upon their word, and come through. Because
Absolutely.
that's really all. That's all we're interested in anyway, right? Like,
Absolutely. And you know,
yeah,
the ability to help somebody and help them accomplish their goals, and you know, especially in the real estate market, you know, the ability to just get somebody into a loan or into a home, you know, owning a home is still part of the American dream. And I think
yeah,
that, you know, people are starting to see that again, and you know, having hope that they'll be able to do it, and maybe, you know, something that they learned from, or you know, a mistake that they made, or you know, maybe something as inconsequential as, you know, my situation. You know, it's important to continue to hold on to that, and you know, that's what's going to move our economy forward, is the ability for people to qualify for these loans for their homes.
yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. And it's sad when people can't, and it's sad when loan officers actually discard somebody based upon credit. It's
And you know, fortunately, the loan officers that I work with, you know, they're going to go to the end of the road to help their client, and being able to say, you know, for them to have, you know, somebody like your services in their back pocket, I think is, you know, that's going to help them with their level of service and what they can do.
That's great. Well, once again, thank you very much for your time, David. Totally great. And you want to give your email address again, just in case any of these guys want to reach out to you and make a connection?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It's David.Glanzrock. It's spelled GLANZ like zebra, ROCK, at title365.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you very much again, and thanks for your time, and just thanks for being a great client. You know, you gave me the freedom to do everything I needed to do. You checked in with me. You asked me a lot of questions. Hopefully, got all your questions answered, and
Absolutely.
yeah, great. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much,
Oh,
and
thank you.
we'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
Take
All right. Bye, Corey.
okay, take care. Bye bye.